Spongebob, as we know, is one of the greatest TV series of all time. It is my childhood, and I still think it's an incredible show to this day. Originally, I set out to review and rank every episode in the show season by season. Paramount kept blocking the video, despite how much I re-edited. In the end, I was left with a season 1 video that I was just not happy with, so I decided that I'm going to do top 10 videos instead going forward. So I took the original footage from that video, and I'm releasing the top 10 episodes in a format that I am happy with. So without further ado, here's the top 10 from season 1. Arg is an episode which for the most part has a very basic premise. Mr. Krabs leads SpongeBob and Patrick on a treasure hunt. It's very to the point and illustrates the strengths of the characters' personalities and dialogue back in the first series. Which is especially great considering the episode pretty much only contains the three of them, bar Fred for a cameo and one scene with the Flying Dutchman. Unlike more modern depictions of the show, we see how Mr. Krabs' greed and selfishness act as the arc for the episode, slowly building across the plot to a satisfying conclusion with real comedic consequence, opposed to him just being a horrible, unbearable person for no real reason. The episode's opening works as a great hook for a character like Mr. Krabs, as the board game is based around pirates and a hunt for treasure, something a character like himself would love and see the real value in. Opposed to SpongeBob and Patrick, who are just looking for some light entertainment the way children would, until their fragile attention spans can't take it, at which point Patrick falls asleep and SpongeBob snaps at Mr. Krabs. This is good, as it shows SpongeBob standing up for himself against his boss. Unlike the modern iteration of the show, he has more emotions than just crying. As the hunt for the Dutchman's doubloons continue, we see Mr. Krabs' obsession with the treasure continue to escalate and worsen, similar to how he was acting at the beginning of the episode with the board game, as if that scene was meant to foreshadow his current behaviour. After the main catalyst for the plot, the board game is revealed to be the treasure map, which is a great piece of continuity. We see Mr. Krabs flip and get ready to assault SpongeBob and Patrick, which is quite dark for a kids show. It is then revealed that they found the X, so SpongeBob and Patrick dig the treasure up. The Dutchman overhears this and appears. He thanks them for their hard work and rewards them with a gold doubloon. Mr. Krabs snaps once again, demanding a reward, at which point he is given a plastic treasure chest which is based on a real treasure chest. This reveal is hilarious, at least to me. It implies that others have come looking based on the board game and the Dutchman has just handed them a plastic chest. In this moment, we see Mr. Krabs completely broken and irritated. This is topped off with the funniest and most unforgiving final line from any episode of the show.
Gee, Mr. Krabs, you're looking all sweaty again.
More than anything, I think this just shows Patrick's obliviousness and how someone like him would grate on Mr. Krabs. Besides, this isn't the only time in the episode where Patrick has unintentionally fried Mr. Krabs in the funniest possible way.
Ensign Patrick, which way is east?
Let's see. That way, Captain!
9,997, 9,998, 9,999, 10,000. Where's the X? Supposed to be right here. 10,000 paces east.
Oh, east? I thought you said west.
West? What kind of compass are you reading, lad?
This one, sir.
That's west, Patrick. You're fired again.
The Weast joke will never not be funny to me. Everything from Patrick's bold confidence to the fact he made them walk all that way for absolutely no reason, along with the sheer stupidity of believing Weast is a direction. I think what makes Arg such a special episode is just how well the three characters bounce off each other. I think an episode like this gives the writers a chance to show the darker side to an otherwise more parental figure at this point in the series, and use every plot beat and every character moment to cleverly break them in the funniest possible way. I should probably begin by stating, I hate this episode so much. I don't think it's funny, I think the characterization is amazing in the worst way, the jokes are truly awful and it depicts Squidward in such a bad manner. Not to mention the terrible one-off character who adds so little to this episode and dynamic. And one more thing, happy opposite day! So, it's a happy thing. Squidward isn't keen to leave Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Patrick's shenanigans have made him so overwhelmed with joy that he decides he has to leave. He puts his house up for sale and gets in contact with an awful lady on the phone who doesn't seem confident about selling his house. In a non-desperate attempt to keep SpongeBob and Patrick around and pestering him, Squidward invents the holiday known as Opposite Day. SpongeBob naturally hates it and doesn't embrace it at all. He would have to live his life and day-to-day the complete opposite of how he would normally and doesn't do it. Patrick completely understands what's happening right from the get-go and is really happy about it. After further chats with SpongeBob, he too decides not to do it. From here, this episode gets a surprising lack of mileage from such a non-dumb concept, and it doesn't thrive. Squidward, who is really sad that he is getting close to selling his house, notices SpongeBob destroy his house. Furniture and foundation are just all over his yard. Squidward is really pleased and enthusiastic to be witnessing this sight. He decides to rebuild the house, while SpongeBob and Patrick reluctantly decide it would be so boring to become Squidward. At which point the lady turns up and SpongeBob fills her in on all the positive things about the house. She is just really comfortable and happy to be around him and Patrick. You can see it in her face. It's really not funny. Eventually, Squidward realizes what has happened and how well it must be going. He gladly rushes over and introduces himself. It's here we get the absolute worst joke of the whole show.
Who are you?
Why, I'm Squidward.
What kind of fool do you take me for? He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward! Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
Meow.
I'm out of here.
This episode is just so bad. I think it's going to be quite low in my rankings, to be honest. It really just has so little going for it. I won't be rewatching it soon, as I laughed so little. Once again, happy Opposite Day, great episode of the show. I think this episode just does so much so well. Okay, so this is the pilot for the TV series, the very beginning of everything. Kicking off at SpongeBob's home, him waking up for his big day is a strong place to begin. He's going for the fry cook job at the Krusty Krab. He's nervous but eager. His best mate Patrick is there to give him some solid life advice, which leads him and the spectator on a wild ride. More than anything, this is setting up the status quo. SpongeBob's job is his world, and the Krusty Krab is arguably the most iconic location of the whole show. It makes a lot of sense to begin here. I found the Squidward graffiti to be really funny, especially as this is essentially the first time we ever meet the character, and he is being depicted as a loser. It's harsh, but amusing. Similarly, Mr. Krabs is smelling a wad of money, which fits him well too. So Squidward dislikes SpongeBob and doesn't want him to get the job, which makes sense. Mr. Krabs sends him on a wild goose chase to get rid of him. Miraculously, they have the absurd item in stock, and SpongeBob is able to save Mr. Krabs and Squidward from a frenzy of anchovies. Mr. Krabs is so relieved and impressed that he offers SpongeBob the job on the spot. This is such a strong introduction. We meet the key characters, understand the character motivations, and fully immerse ourselves in this new world. Not to mention the iconic song at the end, along with the fact that SpongeBob offers Patrick the same service as the feeding frenzy. Outstanding beginning. Sleepy Time is such a fun episode of the show. It's arguably the most unique episode of the whole season due to its structure alone. The plot is sleep. All of the characters are tucked away at home dreaming. They're happy and comfortable, well, up until SpongeBob invades their dreams and causes havoc. Right, so these characters are established. We're 30 episodes in, we know who the cast are, let's explore them further and give them the spotlight a little bit. That's essentially what this episode is. If I had to compare it to anything else, it's kind of like classic SpongeBob's take on 22 short films from Springfield, one of the most iconic episodes of classic Simpsons, which is a bunch of very short segments highlighting the key players in Springfield. It is a praised episode of the show, and rightly so. The same way Sleepy Time is highly regarded by the SpongeBob community, so much so that a level in Battle for Bikini Bottom is based on this episode. SpongeBob has to do missions in his friends' dreams. Initially, I like that we see SpongeBob's dream and see him get catapulted from it. The addition of Mrs. Puff was great too, and it feels like a celebration of the cast. It feels more concrete and believable for SpongeBob to now exist outside of dreams. The things the characters are all dreaming is excellent. It's a deeper dive into their personalities and helps present their individual values. Like Gary being an intellectual and the one to take care of SpongeBob. We know it's true on the show, but this was just a fun way of presenting it. Or Squidward being a Mozart stand-in and annoying the British kingfish. Patrick playing on a kid's machine and losing the only quarter is really amusing. It's also how the Patrick Star game kicks off, which is cool. Oh, while we're on the subject of games, Creature from the Krusty Krab is also inspired by this concept and has a level where a giant plankton is destroying stuff. So yes, on the whole, a thoroughly enjoyable episode which is beloved by all. Yeah, I actually really liked Fools in April on this watch through today, a lot more than I did before. But the one thing I will say, and I'm pretty sure you're going to disagree with me, but the one thing that I don't think it should have been a joke at the end. I think if Squidward really was sorry and really meant it, I think the joke sort of ruins it a little bit. I think it's stronger if Squidward apologizes, and that's just where it ends.
I agree. I totally agree. I think the final 4 minutes really felt like a really heartfelt like character moment for Squidward, just for it to be taken away. But I think that's the biggest issue with season 1 per se, because season 1 isn't. Season 1 seems to be afraid at times to give character development to characters.
But then I would argue that it has the best moment of the whole show in the episode, in the series. Like, it peaks with one moment, and that's Squidward throwing the pizza over that guy after he makes SpongeBob cry.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only, and that's why people remember that moment, because it felt like character growth for Squidward. And then while this time feels less like character growth, it felt like, oh, we got to keep the status quo.
But I feel like if you had removed that scene, it wouldn't have been as good as Pizza Delivery, but it certainly would have been top 5 Squidward moments, like, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I think the Christmas episode comes close. I think Squidward giving everyone presents and, like, being Santa for SpongeBob, that comes close to it.
So yeah, that's another. I think didn't you say you didn't really like the Christmas episode that much?
I don't particularly like it, but I like the final scene. I think the whole thing is just sort of dragged out. But I do think that Squidward being Santa is, like, a really good scene. Yeah, even though Squidward takes it too far, like, again, I think it's one of those where, like, so SpongeBob pulled that prank on him, he believing that art critic or whatever wanted to see his work. Like, I feel like Squidward should have known it was a joke, because it's April Fool's Day and it's just conveniently an art critic wants to speak to him. But equally, he tried to walk away, he tried to quit his job because he just had enough. And SpongeBob was one who was like, no, Squidward, wait, please don't go and stuff. So, yeah, Squidward took it too far, but SpongeBob really pushed him this episode, I think.
Yeah, I feel it. I totally agree.
In terms of gags, Patrick just digging is still really funny to me. It's like,
funny. I will never know to this day. Never know to this day why he was digging.
I think that's the best screw the audience joke in the whole show. But as we said, I think the whole haha, it was a joke sort of ruins the ending.
Yeah, I think if this came out in a different season, they wouldn't have done the joke. They would have played it straight.
Yeah, I guess that is the season 1 suffering. You like the Ice Cube gag, which is funny. I
do. I like the Ice Cube gag. It's funny. I reference this every time I go to a restaurant to see if they get the reference. They never do, and it's funny though.
I think SpongeBob drawing a face on his back and turning away is quite funny as well.
Yeah.
So, hey, what happened to the other guy?
Here I am.
The extreme first is funny.
April Fools to me.
I quite like that all you hear is the voice of that person going, you stink. And then during the flashback where Squidward remembers everything, it's just like an elderly octopus who's just giving him abuse.
Exactly.
And the guy who's like, April Fool's. This is so solid. So for the past 26 months, SpongeBob has consistently won Employee of the Month, an award Mr. Krabs gives out so SpongeBob works harder for no extra money. It is a clever business move, to be fair. Wait, so does that mean the past 24 episodes took place over more than 2 years? That's crazy. Ignoring the timeline, I think they wanted a larger amount for dramatic effect, which in this case worked very well. So Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob there's no clear winner, it's neck and neck. Again, I think this was done for two reasons. One, to mess with him, as Krabs and Squidward laughed about it, while also working from a greedy point of view to push SpongeBob to work even harder than he already has been to make Krabs more money. It's savage, but ultimately makes sense from a financial point. This not only pushes SpongeBob to try harder, but equally ignites a rivalry between SpongeBob and Squidward. Well, sort of anyway. I don't think that was Mr. Krabs' goal, but SpongeBob is so naive and felt threatened by Squidward for some reason anyway. Which is dumb, as he was sat down reading a book instead of working, but fair play. I would, however, take a version of SpongeBob exhibiting a range of emotion over a future brain-dead version. I think seeing a more ambitious and ruthless side to him is also really good. From here, he tried some elaborate schemes to keep Squidward from work, all over a dumb award, a picture on the wall of which he's already got 26. This just seems very veiny of SpongeBob. I think he is enjoying the attention and recognition a little bit too much. Even if Squidward was showing some improvement and effort in his work, SpongeBob should support him. They're friends, let someone else have the award for once. But no, he once again breaks into Squidward's house and tries to destroy his alarm clock. To be fair, I did find all of the gags in Squidward's bedroom to be really funny, which is saying something, as I'm not normally the biggest fan of SpongeBob and Patrick breaking into Squidward's house. SpongeBob's giggle in the pillow made me giggle too, and the fact Squidward just has a cupboard filled with alarm clocks is amazing. Squidward had no interest in receiving the Employee of the Month award. SpongeBob was the one who pushed him. He interfered in his life and annoyed him. Had SpongeBob left it alone, the award would have been his. But then there would be no plot. Ambitious Squidward is also a delight to watch, so I was fine with it. And his reasoning for snapping is very understandable, especially as I'm getting older. More times than not, Squidward is in the right. Well, initially anyway. Again, the scene where they're racing off to the Krusty Krab is great. There's so many physical gags, and it just keeps building up and snowballing and snowballing. They both just want it. I think this is the first time in the series that Squidward has had some sort of goal, well, apart from the talent show maybe. I appreciate how they both sort of screw the other one over and rush to the now open Krusty Krab. It becomes so toxic and over the top in the best possible way, and unfortunately, Mr. Krabs suffers as a result, and he really didn't do anything wrong in this episode. At most, he wound SpongeBob up by falsely alluding to Squidward winning the award this time. The episode concludes in an explosive way as lots and lots of Krabby Patties destroy the restaurant and Mr. Krabs loses tons of money. They all embody the award in a way none of them won. I'm in such a pickle as what to say about this one. I joke, this episode is actually amazing and deserves all the praise it gets. So, by this point, SpongeBob is very comfortable in his role as the fry cook at the Krusty Krab and has built up a following. Regulars swarm to the restaurant for SpongeBob's cooking. His Krabby Patties are just that good. He captures the attention of an ignorant oaf known as Bubble Bass. Initially a minor recurring character of the first series, who will go on to become a series regular in modern SpongeBob for some reason. Plankton is the staple villain, with the Flying Dutchman acting as a secondary villain. The show doesn't need a third. As a one-off here, Bubble Bass is a great character and fits his role so well. So, Bassy Boy comes to the Krusty Krab and recites his truly iconic order.
I'll take a double triple bossy deluxe on a raft, 4x4 animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease, make it cry, burn it and let it swim.
We serve food here, sir.
Which Squidward begrudgingly accepts. SpongeBob slightly arrogantly appears and hands over the order to Bubble Bass. He does this very keenly, like he's looking to impress. The pair have both heard of each other and seem very keen to show off to one another. I really like the way this episode sets this sort of plot device up. It almost feels like a western, as though these two are dueling with each other. The tense music, layout, and reaction from the rest of the characters really sell this idea. That it's two forces about to do battle with one another. Bubble Bass eats and proudly shows off that SpongeBob forgot to put pickles in the burger and arrogantly declares that SpongeBob is not the best and his reputation has been misplaced. Everyone is in shock, especially Mr. Krabs, who has a massive breakdown over the fact he has now lost $2 whole due to this fiasco. After wrecking the confidence of the best worker in the whole restaurant, Bubble Bass just leaves. It seemed like his goal was just to belittle SpongeBob and wreck him, which seems counterintuitive as he's clearly a character who enjoys food there. I figured there might be slightly more plot relevance if he were a food critic, but equally an asshole who wants to destroy someone works too. Due to the events here, SpongeBob is truly broken. He's in a bad mental state and can't continue to work. Everything feels off for him. I can understand this. It's hard to stay focused when you're that rattled, especially when you're so sure that you did your job correctly. In this case, actually put pickles in the burger. Which he did, but we'll come back to that shortly. Mr. Krabs sends SpongeBob home to try and get his head cleared and make Squidward the head chef. This goes so badly wrong as Squidward burns everything, including a milkshake. That bit of dialogue will forever have me in stitches.
He burnt my Krabby Patty.
He burnt my fries.
He burnt my shake.
Oh, he burnt my shake.
Mr. Krabs sees that a change is needed and he visits SpongeBob. Now, Spongy is in a horrible state. He hasn't been able to sleep, he can't dress himself or make himself food or anything really. Bubble Bass completely wrecks SpongeBob's confidence. I think the build up to this is so good across the episode. We've all experienced similar things where our anxiety has gotten the better of us and we just can't focus. It's crazy that small things such as forgetting an ingredient can have an effect like this, but it works. Mr. Krabs realizes he needs to help SpongeBob break away from this mentality. This is such a good character interaction for the pair of them. Classic SpongeBob often places Mr. Krabs in a more sort of parental role to the rest of the cast, and moments like this really make that shine through. SpongeBob tries and tries, but he just can't seem to break the order. He is so broken and destroyed. He doesn't believe he is able to do anything anymore. Until his outpour, which was the thing that was needed, and his block was finally broken. Shortly after learning of SpongeBob's return to form, the Krusty Krab is once again filled with patrons. Eventually, Bubble Bass follows suit and they have their second showdown. Only this time, SpongeBob catches on to his little trick. He realizes that he was right both times and Bubble Bass gets confronted by everyone else he has swindled. He retreats like a coward and SpongeBob gets all the applause that, quite frankly, he deserves. Although, I would argue Squidward deserved it too. He isn't a fry cook, but equally, he was trying, so go on, give our boy Squiddy some love. Come on, do it. Just comment down below we love Squidward or something. We know Squiddy deserves it. Go on. SB129 is such an incredible episode and arguably the most unique of the whole series. This episode has Squidward accidentally time travelled across different eras. So, in a desperate attempt to get away from SpongeBob and Patrick, Squidward escapes to the Krusty Krab. I don't really feel like Squidward should have had to do this. I mean, he made it perfectly clear to SpongeBob and Patrick he had no interest in spending time with them. Yet, they kept on badgering him. Give the man a break, it's his day off, he just wants to play his instrument and have some squid time. Which is something I think we can all relate to. Despite this, they continue to pursue him and chase him to the Krusty Krab. While I didn't find the first section of this episode to be all that funny, SpongeBob's alarm clock startling Squidward causing him to choke on the clarinet, that was an amusing scene, even if it was at Squidward's expense. Following on from this, Squidward hides out in the freezer and in typical Futurama style accidentally awakes in the future, but a much different time. Everything is all chrome. It's very sterile and dystopian. I think the visuals alone sell the eeriness of this episode so well. I mean, there's a dude who immediately spray paints a newly formed flower as quickly as he can match the rest of the chrome on display. It's so subtle but sells a sense of control, like there's a higher being that has a much stronger control and sense of power over this reality. But yes, even in this warped futuristic version of Bikini Bottom, Squiddy isn't able to escape SpongeBob or any of his clones. Did I say SpongeBob? I meant his ancestor, Spongetron, along with his bestie, Paton, where their solution to everything is the necessity to go jellyfishing, much like their ancestors before them. I do like that jellyfishing seems to be the clutch throughout. No matter what Squidward does, he cannot escape this slightly pointless sport. Squidward ultimately decides he can't cope being there and looks for an escape. I understand. I find any new situation to be overwhelming too. I can't even imagine what it must be like for the cephalopod. Eventually, he finds his escape and gets sliced around in a circular motion. Wait, hold on, not the time machine, that's the can opener. He travels again, but this time to the prehistoric era. I love the visuals in the background and the designs of the creatures. The devolved jellyfish are my favourites, I think. Squidward finally believes he has made some peace away from his life, SpongeBob and Patrick, and is able to play his instrument. Well, until the badly played clarinet disturbs the cave-dwelling sponge and the cave-dwelling star, who are technically their own creations and are different from SpongeGar and Patgar, who we will meet in a future installment of the series. Like I said before, this episode isn't rich with jokes, but the cave starfish breathing in Squidward's face is so awkward but equally funny. Like, in conception, it's atrocious, but it's the slow build and Squidward's reaction that gets me. These two cavemen dudes are scared of jellyfish. They're primitive, but have enough instinct to know they will hurt you. Squidward, in an attempt to get them to leave him alone, inadvertently creates jellyfishing, the very game he hates. It is really a fun full circle moment in this episode. Once again, his clarinet playing upsets these two, so he legs it for the time machine once again. By now, he is noticeably upset, which would make sense, he's lost in time and so alone. He ends up once again alone in the Never space, Purgatory, or the space in between time and space, whatever you want to call it. This existing within the SpongeBob universe is surprisingly nuanced and deep. This really is the core of this episode. It's Squidward having an existential crisis. He knows he's alone, he knows what his life is, and it gives him the chance to compartmentalize everything. Yes, it's overwhelming and he really struggles to cope, but that is the point. The simple act of teaching cave-dwelling sponge to jellyfish visualizes the importance of SpongeBob and the impact he makes on his life. He's always helping SpongeBob, even if he doesn't always necessarily realize it. Eventually, he is able to break through literally and metaphorically to ignite the time machine. He realizes what value his life really has and how much he appreciates all the people in it. He reunites with SpongeBob and happily accepts his life. I mean, the final dialogue is just so perfect in this one too.
Does this mean you wanna go jellyfishing?
No! Oh, who's the barnacle head who invented that game anyway?
You are, Squidward!
I'm not even sure where to start with this incredible episode. So, as the title implies, this whole episode takes place in rock bottom, both figuratively and literally too. As SpongeBob accidentally ends up alone in the dark. Alright, so after a fun day at Glove World, SpongeBob and Patrick eagerly board a bus to get home. SpongeBob unintentionally annoys the bus driver while searching around for change, so much so that he thinks fish paste and just lets SpongeBob and Patrick on for free. I'm not going to lie. If I knew annoying the bus driver would lead to free fare, then I would do it all the time. Not that I take buses regularly, but in this scenario, I would. SpongeBob and Patrick soon realise they took the wrong bus by accident, and it descends into the depths of rock bottom. For most other characters, I would argue getting the wrong bus would be a bit of a weak plot setup, but this is the kind of thing SpongeBob and Patrick would do. I mean, they're both unaware children, even in the classic run of the show, so it fits them so well. And I mean, annoying the bus driver just makes the whole situation that much funnier. Like, their obnoxious balloon crushes him against the window. It is funny. So immediately, the boys hate rock bottom. For a moment, let's pretend they end up in a more pleasant and just all-round neutral location. The sense of unease would be present. Even now, as an adult, it can be uncomfortable for the first time I'm in a new town or city. So for people like these two with childlike personalities, it must be so overwhelming. But rock bottom is so bleak and topsy-turvy that it adds so much more unease for them. I actually think Patrick summed up the whole situation perfectly.
Bob, I don't like it here. It's dark and scary. I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
So here they are, essentially two children abandoned in a dark, crooked town with weird sea creatures who speak a different tongue. Well, sort of. They spit in between words, which is weird and different. It is really good setup for a plot, but it's not all that bad. At least they have each other, right? Well, no, Patrick, being the selfish starfish that he is, boards a bus without any recollection for SpongeBob. Look, he does head back and try to get him in the end, but still. The situation thickens as SpongeBob is now alone. It's dark and there are very few landmarks to speak of. We have, a bus stop, a bus information building, and a vending machine. Not exactly rich with life. But that's the point. So the town is called Rock Bottom. The bus literally descends down into this soulless town. It's a very clever metaphor for depression. So we all know depression, and most have experienced it at one time or another. I for sure have. It's a horrendous feeling, like you're trapped, isolated and alone without the faintest bit of warmth. Well, that's exactly how SpongeBob is feeling. He has no one to help him. He is literally trapped as the road goes up at a 90-degree angle. Essentially, he is at the bottom of a very dark trench. This sense of isolation and helplessness is pushed via the buses. The show manages to present this darker idea to children via the comedy of these moments, but essentially the buses do so much. For someone who is feeling the weight of a bad depression, the feeling of unease and vulnerability, it feels like there is no escape no matter how much they may try. Well, by extension, SpongeBob cannot get a bus no matter how much he tries. He is literally trapped in rock bottom. It's presented in such a cruel way, humorous at face value, but it's so harsh. Whenever he is stood waiting for a bus to arrive, it just doesn't show up. But the second he moves away or gets distracted, one magically pops up, and he is always missing it. This cruel situation is made worse by a passerby coming along and stealing his chocolate bar. He is in rock bottom, he literally cannot win. I love the lengths this episode goes to with it. So, a character who is briefly introduced at the start is a flamboyant glowing fish who chases SpongeBob's balloon down. At first, this seems throwaway, but he returns and presents SpongeBob with the solution. It's simple, but effectively the stranger gives SpongeBob the much needed kindness he needed to escape rock bottom, which is such a good message for younger viewers. It's so basic, but so effective. Just be kind, because someone probably needs it. I would push this idea one step further and say this guy was SpongeBob's literal light out of the dark. I mean, the writers very easily could have just had a generic fish character fill this role. But they don't. They purposely make it some glowing dude. If he isn't meant to be SpongeBob's guardian angel, his bright light to guide him home, then I don't know what it is. I really loved this resolution, especially as both the balloon and the light fish were set up before. This episode is a masterpiece. I know Menoman thinks this deserves to be in first place, and I don't blame him at all for that. Pizza Delivery is such a special episode. At its core, it illustrates the heart of the show and why the SpongeBob formula is so amazing when done right. That's SpongeBob and Squidward. You place these two in a difficult situation and off you go. In this case, delivering the first ever Krusty Krab pizza to someone. For the majority of this episode, it is just the two of them alone on the road. The opening set piece does include Mr. Krabs having a phone call with the customer in question, but that's it. From here on out, it's just SpongeBob and Squidward. So, for SpongeBob, he is so happy and excited to be able to hand-deliver the first ever Krusty Krab pizza to the customer. He's so eager and full of energy. He doesn't let anything get him down. Even trickier obstacles for him, such as having to drive the boat, do little to get him down. To Squidward, it's easy. Back up the boat and go. He has a short bluntness with SpongeBob, and it ends atrociously. SpongeBob backs the boat as far away from the customer as possible. It leaves he and Squidward abandoned far away from the desired location. I mean, Squidward was already unhappy with the task. He didn't want to deliver the pizza, let alone with SpongeBob for company. In his mind, this is the absolute worst experience possible. This is where a lot of the more iconic moments from this episode begin to present themselves. We have the truly catchy and hilarious Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me tune. You know, you're tired, you're walking for miles, and someone like SpongeBob is singing. What jolly fun. This is followed with all the hilarious references to the pioneers and all of the dumb things they did. Squidward listens at first. I mean, he eats coral, which is something. The joke is that the pioneers seem more and more ridiculous to the point that the spectator thinks SpongeBob is just being super naive. Only for a boulder to move. SpongeBob literally drives a huge ass rock out of there. It's such a good and amusing screw the audience joke, while being the absolute best and dumbest way to get the plot moving again. They still have a long way to travel. Not to worry, we have our boulder to drive. A lot of the dialogue and interactions during the whole pizza delivery process show off why the dynamic between these two works so well. It's a child's point of view versus an adult's one. SpongeBob's core focus is delivering the pizza, whereas a more logical adult like Squidward, who is worried about dying, sees the pizza as a source of food, a means to stay alive. While SpongeBob refuses to hand it over, it's for the customer after all. It's the difficulty of the situation that makes their conflict so funny. But this whole thing is presented cleverly and respectfully, like Squidward isn't being punished in the same way Squidward torture episodes would have him be punished. Eventually, when they make it to the customer's house, SpongeBob is proudly and happily ready to hand his food over. He and Squidward went through literal hell and all sorts of awful terrain, but it's fine, the customer has their food. Only the dude is awful. He starts berating SpongeBob for forgetting a drink he didn't even order. He belittles him and accuses him of not caring. This scene is written so well. I wanted to give the guy a slap. He is absolutely the worst. SpongeBob goes to pieces in front of Squidward. He feels like he's failed and can't cope. This pushes Squidward to the brink. He grabs the pizza and gives the guy a piece of his mind.
Another one? Look, I told your little friend I ain't paying for that!
Well, this one's on the...
This is single-handedly the best scene of the whole show. After everything they've been through, all the suffering, SpongeBob did it for the customer. So of course Squidward was going to snap. Despite how much Squidward would deny it, he likes SpongeBob and considers him a friend. This gesture proves that Squidward is a good person deep down and will always have SpongeBob's back. It is the peak of the show, and slightly unfortunate that it's the 10th episode of the whole show. The last minute or so is also hilarious. After all of this, he and Squidward were ridiculously close to the Krusty Krab and could even return to work. Squidward's face here is sheer perfection. Pizza Delivery is one of the greatest episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. It is an absolute triumph. Well, those were my thoughts. I would love to hear which you would consider to be the top 10 in the comment section down below. If you like this and are keen to stay up to date, then please hit that like button and subscribe. We're getting so close to 2,000 subs now. I would love to shout out the incredible Olisnew crew. Right, I guess I'll see you all in the season 2 video very soon.